Welcome back to Factory Sealed. It is June 14th, 2015. My name is Eric Peterson. Joining me today, Miss Jess Clarkson.
Hello.
Unfortunately, Dan is not here, but filling in for him, we've got 8-Bit Baby, also known as Mark Polydoris. Or is it the other way around? You'd be Mark Polydoris.
That's good, yes.
Known as 8-Bit Baby. Yes. Welcome. Pleasure to have you here, sir.
Thanks.
It's
excited to be here.
Yeah. I'm still reeling from Dan. He had the most inopportune timing. We were just getting ready to go live, and suddenly he goes offline, and we start making fun of his computer. And he apparently the electricity for his entire street in England went down. So Dan is out today, unfortunately.
Hopefully power comes back to England.
All of England. England as a whole.
Yes.
I feel like his street makes up like at least a quarter of England. Like it's very, very tiny.
He lives on the one street that goes straight through the whole thing, and then the rest is just kind of like alleys and bungalows in the back.
Yep.
Main Street, England.
It's just hard for me to fathom how small that country is.
Yeah, you can drive right up to, it's only 6 hours from London to Scotland. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I hope that's right.
Dan,
it's a good thing he's not on to correct me.
I was creeping on Dan's house when he gave me his address once to send him. That's terrible phrasing. Just terrible phrasing. He wanted me to send him a box of Lucky Charms, so he gave me his address. And I Googled it. And he is like 4.5 hours from London. Like, London's in the very southern part of the country. And, like, I want to see how far it is. If I ever flew into London, how long would it be? And Dan's like, oh, my God, that's such a long drive. I wouldn't be able to come down and get you. So, like, what is it? Like, I'm expecting, like, 9-10 hours, because in my American brain, that's the crest of how far I'd really want to drive in a day to pick somebody up. And it was, like, 3.5, 4 hours at most.
Yeah. I'm looking at a map of where he is, and he's pretty far up there. He's closer to Scotland than he is to London.
He is, but it's only like, what, 300 miles? Not even? No. Like 200-ish?
Let's see what Google...
Do they do things in miles over there?
I'm creeping on Dan now.
No kilometers.
But they do things in miles per hour.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty positive. God.
I thought it was just you crazies that did miles per hour.
No, because I was looking at some street signs of shit over there. I'm going to ask Dan, do you do things in KMH or MPH? Yeah, I was looking at a street sign, and I thought for sure it said MPH, or maybe the speedometers on their cars are miles per hour. I don't...
We have both.
Well, so do we.
Do you guys have both, or do you just have one?
What's on the outer circle for you? Kilometers or miles?
Kilometers.
Oh, ours is miles per hour.
Yeah.
I'd like to get a car that has kilometers per hour because then I could feel like I'm going faster.
So Dan is 4 hours and 35 minutes by car.
That's not far at all. That's not even from me to you.
276 miles. No.
I drove from Indianapolis to Denver in one straight shot, and then from Denver to Phoenix the next day.
You could probably drive all the way around England twice in that amount of time.
Yeah. I don't even think England is as big as my home state of Wisconsin.
I need a minute to let that wrap my brain around that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
England is small.
So Dan lives in the Door County of England, is what you're trying to say.
Oh yeah. Yes. And it's funny when people from other countries come over here and they're like, okay, I want to do this. I want to see Mount Rushmore. Then I want to see the Hoover Dam. Then I want to see the Grand Canyon. Then I want to see New York City. And then I want to see Hollywood. It's like, okay, that's 5 vacations. Yeah. You're not going to do it all in one go.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
I hope
the scope of how big North America is. Like Canada and US are huge countries.
Well, Canada, everybody lives 3 feet over the border, and that's it.
Yeah, because that's where our one highway is. It's stupid. Our infrastructure is stupid. We have one major highway.
And does it just goes east-west, and that's it? Since nobody goes into... You can't get to Yellowknife or to...
They have smaller other highways, but like our one major, you guys have like interstates that cross and go all over the place,
Yeah.
which is so much better. Whereas ours is like east, west, north, south. Those are really it.
Wow. Well, we stole the interstate system from Hitler, so there's that.
Really?
Yeah, that's how.
Can't be all bad.
That's where it came from, because over there they had this infrastructure for moving troops around, and that's essentially what the interstate system is designed for. Is if there was a war on home territory, we can move people around quickly.
Huh.
So yeah, take that for what it's worth. I just hope someday I get to go over there and visit Dan and just be the stereotypical American that he makes me out to be. Just obnoxious and not fat. Because I'm not going to... I can't dedicate myself to the cause that much. But we'll see.
Yeah, you need to show up in American flag pants.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that would be that'll help the cause for sure.
Bring at least 15 guns with me.
Uh-huh.
Just fire them into the air for no reason. Spit tobacco everywhere.
And drink a lot of soda, too. I think you'll be in good shape.
Yeah, tons of soda. And refer to everything in a very ignorant manner.
And then make sure you say, how come you don't speak American? I think that goes over really well, I've heard.
Big Southern. How you
You
don't
guys
speak
speak
American?
dollars?
Yeah. How much is this in dollars? You guys accept EBT?
Just try to pay in Bitcoin. I think that'll work. That'll work too.
Boy, that fell off quick. Speaking of English people in America, Jess, do you remember Tom Reagan from back in the
Yes.
Voldemort
Yes.
Tower days?
Yeah.
He lives in London, and he's coming over to Las Vegas next weekend. So I'm going to drive up there and
Oh.
visit him. This week is going to be just insane. I started my new job last week, and awesome place. They took me out to lunch every day. We went on a dinner outing to Dave & Buster's and played video games all night one night.
I love
Nice.
Dave and Buster's.
That's where I found that Mario Kart arcade game. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Yeah.
No.
I don't think we've had that at our Dave and Buster's.
I didn't get a chance to play it because it was being monopolized by 4-year-olds, but I went back to the back corner and played the true arcade racing game of Daytona, USA. That's where it's at.
That's a classic.
What? Like, I didn't think 4-year-olds could go to Dave and Buster's. I thought that was the whole point, that it was for, like, adults only.
Maybe in Canada. Down here, it is fair game. It's not just a 21
Maybe just
plus.
at nighttime.
Yeah, I think they kick them out at some ungodly hour, so all 4-year-olds have to leave by 10:30 or 11.
If you're
Which
under-
they should leave by 10:30 or 11. They should be in bed.
Not down here in Phoenix. I don't go to movie theaters anymore because regardless of what time it is, there are people with toddlers and strollers, even at
Yikes.
midnight showings.
Yikes.
But anyway, tomorrow my job is flying me out to San Francisco, so I'm going to be gone all week, and then I come back in on Thursday, leave Friday to head up to Vegas and pick up Tom. Of all the weekends that Tom could have picked to come to Vegas, he picks the most expensive weekend of the year. And hotel rooms, you can usually pick them up for like $35-$40 on an off weekend. He picks the one weekend where they're almost $300 per night
Oh my.
because there's some sort of EDM festival going on. So it's just going to be a big drugged out rave the entire weekend.
Isn't that what he's going for?
I don't know. I've never met Tom, but he doesn't really strike me as the I'm going to pop some Molly and go wiggle my arms around for a couple hours.
Glow sticks. I haven't talked to Tom in like since Voldemort Towers.
Yeah. Mark, to give you a reference, Voldemort Towers is a website we all started years and years and years ago, and the owner of the site was just such a shady douche that we basically crumbled the whole site and left and started Manitank, and here we are with this. So we don't refer to it as its proper name. It's Voldemort Towers.
It sounds like an apartment complex, the way you're talking about it.
I would not want to live in Voldemort Towers.
I feel like he lived in a shady apartment building, so it totally makes sense.
Yeah, police sirens and gunshots.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, Mark, tell us a little bit about yourself here, because we've been talking about... I know I've shared some of your stuff over the course of the past couple years, but there are bound to be people here who aren't quite sure who you are and what it is that you do.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Well, thanks for sharing it. So Mark is my name, and
This isn't an AA meeting.
oh, okay.
Hi, Mark.
So my project is 8-Bit Baby. It's lullaby versions of retro video games, and we've got 3 albums out, and I think and 1 not single, and yeah, it's the whole thing. I don't know how much you know about the project, but it started as just a gift. I made the entire Mega Man 2 soundtrack for my brother as a baby shower present.
When did you make that?
So I think it was April 2013. And I mean, it took me a month to do. It was sort of this labor of love that, I mean, first I have to learn every song in the game and pluck out each part.
Only took you a month to do that.
You're like, it took me a month, like it's a long time. I'm thinking, it took me a month to make a blanket.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's not like I had to learn the piano. I mean, I knew what to do on the piano.
Okay.
So I play. Yes, I'm a musician. I played music my entire life, and so I wanted to make kind of a special something for my brother. I have 3 sibs, and this is my baby brother, and so his first kid, and I thought making him like a lullaby CD would be a great idea. And so I sort of started the idea with, let's just pick songs from our childhood or songs that were kind of like important to us when we were kids, or stuff from really obscure movies. I almost did the Bloodsport soundtrack as a lullaby.
That'd be a little weird.
Well, I mean, yes, it would have been very. I started plucking out the first 3 or 4 notes and just said, "This is not working. We can't do this." And so, so I started playing around with a few tunes from Mega Man 2, and I was nevertheless going to do, no matter what the project was going to do Dr. Wily, Stage 1, of course, and then I tried the opening theme on piano and just slowed it down, and plucked it out, and I mean, it just fit perfectly as a lullaby, and just decided, all right, you know what, we're going to go for it. If we're going to do 2 songs from Mega Man 2, we're going to commit to the whole thing and scrap everything else.
Oh yeah.
And so I started recording it, and I mean, it really, I say it took a month, but it was, every day after work, coming home in a dark room, recording on GarageBand on my piano, and just trying to learn all those. I mean, there's so many notes, and picking out what really made the song sound like a song, and then how do you make it sound like a lullaby and still sound recognizable. So I finally got it down, and I sent it to him as a present, and he, of course, like, went apeshit when he got it, and the first thing he did was throw it up on SoundCloud. And so once it was up on SoundCloud, somebody got a hold of it somewhere, and it went from getting 2 or 3 plays a day, 10 plays a day, 10,000 plays a day, and it just blew up. And so, of course, the 2 of us started to think, all right, well, maybe we should try to get this out to other people. People were asking, they were saying, take my money, like, we want a copy of it.
Yeah.
And okay, I think we're onto something here. So, and he runs a retro, like a custom action figure kind of retro toy blog. And so he came up with the name 8-Bit Baby. I let him do the album cover, and that was it. We got it up online and licensed, and that was that.
Because I was probably one of those people that's like, take these dollars and give me something, because my daughter was born a year ago March, and my sister and I grew up playing Mega Man together. That was our franchise that we played together growing up. And my sister is my daughter's godmother, and when she came down for the first time to visit her, she had a whole bunch of gifts, obviously, but the last one that she gave her was a CD that she had burned of your Mega Man 2 lullabies before they were officially released. She's like, I had to figure out how to get these down off SoundCloud because there wasn't a delete, or there wasn't a download option. So I'll be the first to admit we pirated it because we couldn't purchase it. And then as soon as they came out, we went out and actually bought the digital album. But it was one of those things where we got it, and we've always been playing just music for my daughter when she was in the womb. You know, the whole dog and pony show with that. But when she would cry, we would put this stuff on, and it would calm her down. And she would sit there and just listen to it. And it became just this thing where we just have it on in the background for her during the day. And if we're in the car and she's being fussy, I had the CD in the car and just pop it on and it would calm her down. And it's just one of those things that she just listens to now. And it's kind of the go-to thing for, all right, Ellie, it's time to start calming down.
That's so cool.
And
that's really cool.
It just for me, it's one of those obvious things like, why hasn't anybody done this before?
Well, that was what I was sort of shocked to see, that no one else had done it. And so I tried to rush to figure it out, and I found a site that does the licensing for it. So it's sort of legit, and that way Nintendo gets a check from me or Capcom gets a check, for 10 cents or whatever it is that I'm making on top of, for the licensing fees. But, I reached out to the Megas to find out what they did. I reached out to the guys from the 1UPs, and I think I might even emailed Smooth McGroove to find out, how'd you guys get your stuff on Spotify? How'd you get it on iTunes and all that? And so we figured it out, and that was that.
Was that a huge process?
There's a site called Louder, and they handle all of that for you. So they just take a cut off the top, and it made it really easy. So I could just made the tracks, and then when I did the second album, we released that right about the same time that we released the Mega Man one through Louder, and so it just made it like you just type in the game and who the artist, I found who the composer was, and they take care of the rest of it for you.
Oh, we got Dan back online, guys. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off mid sentence.
No.
Let's pull him in.
And you know what's hilarious? It's like a half an hour after, and I was like, no way.
Oh, Dan, I apologize.
Is he there?
He's on. He sent me a message that says the electricery lives.
It's just, now he's good, I think.
Dan.
Hello.
Hey!
It lives!
It lives!
My God, talk about bad timing.
That was insane time. We'll take a break from what we were talking about. Phil, what happened?
Well, just as soon as you were about to start, just the internet went off, and then next thing I knew, like all the burglar alarms in the street started going off. I was like, oh no.
Someone's breaking in.
So basically, we had a massive power outage caused by the fact that we were starting the Factory Sealed podcast.
You're welcome.
Oh, good God. So if it cuts out again, I apologize in advance.
Now that you're here, you can settle a couple disputes for us.
Right.
Over in England, obviously we understand how small it is, but do you guys measure things in kilometers or miles?
Miles.
Really?
Told you.
Really?
Why do we use kilometers then?
But you use everything else metric.
Yeah, I think so.
Except for...
But you guys do height in meters, right? You don't do feet and inches.
No, most people would say I would say I'm 6 feet. So.
Okay, because we do height in feet and inches.
You also measure things in stone, though, too, don't you?
Yes.
Which is
so
weird.
How many stone are you then? Oh, maybe that's not an appropriate
It's totally appropriate. Dan, how many stone are you?
I am 44 stone.
What is stone? Is that like 14.2
Isn't that gigantic?
pounds?
Isn't the stone like...
I'm actually, in reality, I'm 11 stone.
Oh.
I think.
What does that equate
That
to?
was last time. I don't know. Why would I check other people's weights?
Just figure it out. I want to know I want to know what stone to pound is.
Just Google.
I'd prefer it if the guy that lives in that area knows about it and provides some insight.
You just want everyone to be American.
I do. I had Dan this close to
His
convince...
fat fingers can't type on the keyboard.
I had him this close to being convinced to move over here a couple years ago.
Did you?
Didn't I?
No.
Oh. Sorry.
So So a stone is 14 pounds.
I was right.
Says the internet.
Why would you measure things in... That's like going back to furlongs and...
Fathoms.
Yeah, fathom. What is a fathom? Isn't that like a...
The Queen likes it.
I don't like the Queen.
Oh, she'll kill you for that. High treason.
The Queen
high
is
treason.
amazing. She's this like wicked old lady. I love her.
Who's
Yeah, she's got to the age now where she just literally does not give a shit. And she just like every event she goes to, she just looks grumpy as hell.
When's the last time?
It's amazing.
When's the last time the monarchy in England did anything of significance besides look good and spend a ton of money?
Kate popped out 2 kids.
And Pippa has a great butt, apparently.
So there you go. That's your
Prince
answer.
Prince Charles has huge ears.
He's got to be so mad that he hasn't been king yet.
I think she's literally refusing to die because she just doesn't want him on the throne.
Oh, she'll die, and then
think
he'll
that's-
die the next year. And he's like, it was fun while it lasted.
Fuck you, John.
So, Dan, you jumped in mid-conversation. We were talking with Mark about kind of what inspired him to do all of this stuff. And,
Oh, so I ruined his floor. Sorry, Mark.
well,
It's all right.
it was worth it.
Yeah, I know. I have no idea how to talk about it. So yeah, your timing was impeccable.
So you were saying that you were kind of going through the whole process of what you had to do to get it licensed, and I think
Yeah. So once we got it licensed, you submit it through the site Louder, and they're great. They make it really easy, and then just try to get people to listen. So I still have it. The whole Mega Man one is still up on SoundCloud for free. So if people want to listen to it there, they can just grab the whole album. But then the new ones I've just kept on Spotify and iTunes.
yeah,
I'm
I
not
was
gonna
going to say
I'm not gonna give it all away for free.
I listened
so.
to them on Spotify, and that's pretty much where I've been sharing it out with people. But definitely SoundCloud is where at least I first heard about it.
And where can you purchase it?
You can buy it on Spotify, iTunes, Google Play. I think it's on Amazon. I think there's some pirated Russian websites that you can buy it if you don't want me to get any money for it.
If you want to support Putin's regime.
Right.
We'll just
pretty
we'll put a
bummed
link to that in the description.
Yeah.
Yes, please. My feelings on piracy changed dramatically when I saw my little project up on a Russian website. So, so they're collecting dozens of dollars instead of me, but good for them.
Isn't there any legal recourse you can take against that?
I mean, to talk to a lawyer for 15 minutes would probably outweigh every dollar that I've made on this little project. So it's really not that big. And clearly it's not a wild money-making scheme. It's more just for fun. Yeah. So
some money is better than no money.
Well, yeah, it's kind of fun to get. I get a check in the mail for like $100 every month. Like, it's pretty good, right?
It's beer money.
It's beer money. That's exactly what it is.
That's awesome. What were some of the challenges you had? Obviously, you said going through and just picking out all of the pieces for this and deciding what songs to do. But like once you actually figured it out, what were some of the most difficult parts of making these songs?
I mean, for the first album, once I committed to, all right, we're going to do the entire Mega Man 2 soundtrack, I just kept delaying the recording of Heat Man. Some of the more like just the songs that you're like, what? I don't even know where to begin.
That's such an intense song.
Oh my God. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. And I did find there's a few sites that have the music up. So somebody transformed all the MIDI into notes, but I mean, it just looks like black dots on a piece of paper. I mean, I don't even know where to begin on this. So I took a lot of creative liberty with that one. And then like Metal Man was really fun. On my recording, I mean, I really kind of milked it for as much as I could and not kind of stayed real true to the original melody. And mostly because I thought it was just going to be for my brother. But now that it's got almost 250,000 plays on SoundCloud, it's like, man, I probably should have put a little bit more work
into it. I actually had Metal Man listed as one of my favorites because it brought me back to a different game, and I have no idea how I made this correlation. But back in the 90s when the very first Sims game came out. Did you guys ever play that? On PC? They had this mode where...
Was it SimTown?
No, just The Sims. The first The Sims.
Oh.
Yeah, everybody's played The Sims.
So when you're going through and you're building your house and decorating it and stuff, there's this very melodic tune that's playing. And at the time, it reminded me of the Forrest Gump song. I'm like, why is Forrest Gump music in The Sims? But now that I hear your version of Metal Man, it brings me back to like, okay, this feels like The Sims, and now it sounds like Forrest Gump. So your Metal Man song reminds me of Forrest Gump.
It reminds you of Metal Man sitting on a park bench offering chocolates and razor blades to an old lady next to him.
Never know what you're going to get. It's just a weird correlation.
That's pretty weird. That is
That's
not
generally how
intentional, but-
Eric's mind works, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, that was a little scary.
Yeah. Try being inside.
Ugh.
The other one that I had written down that was the title song for Mega Man 2, you just have it titled Mega Man. That song will forever have been ruined by Brental Floss for me.
I've heard Brental Floss's version of it. Yes,
his version is fantastic, but he's all about just making it goofy. So now every time I hear that song, I sing Brental Floss's lyrics to it, especially the part that gets to like with balls like a rhino. It's just completely ruined.
Yes, the Mega Man 3 is ruined. The opening theme for Mega Man 3 is ruined because of Brental Floss.
His stuff's great. Don't get me wrong. It's just listening to it as many times as I did. Now I can't hear it and not associate it. Like some of the songs I've listened to the Megas so much that some of the songs I associate with their lyrics. But what's cool about their lyrics is that a lot of the stuff is pulled from the comics. So there are actually some direct lines pulled directly out of the comics, and I'm a big Mega Man comic fan, and having read the comics and then listened to their music, like, okay, that's awesome how they pulled that in, like the Dr. Light song where he's talking to Mega Man about, I gave you eyes, I gave you hair, but this burning in your heart I didn't put there, and that's a line pulled directly from the comics.
Huh. Well, that album is really cool. I mean, those guys put a lot of work into. I mean, let's talk about a labor of love. Yeah. I mean, they did it twice. They did it once with fully electric, and then acoustic again too.
And I've definitely preferred their acoustic stuff over the electric stuff, mainly because it just felt more polished. But then when they released their two latest albums, the Red and the Blue, it's just game over. Like that to me was just awesome. So I've got a soft spot in my heart for video game music.
I'm gonna sound terrible, but I a lot of the times don't really notice music. I'm not very musically inclined. Like I cannot usually hear music and associate it with a game because I just don't pay attention to it.
I have a theory as to why, Jess.
Let's hear it.
She has no brain?
Close. She was not in show choir.
I was not in show choir. That is correct.
Wow.
I definitely was not.
Show choir. Jess always makes fun of me because I was in show choir.
Is that the thing where you're doing embarrassing jazz?
That's not embarrassing jazz. That is A+ gold star state certified jazz.
Eric, when I first watched that video, I laughed for half an hour.
Eric, I did see that video,
yeah.
And yes, and I too was in show choir as well, of course. So,
God.
So you can respect that aspect of.
Yeah, but he has musical talent.
If he did something.
I had a solo, Dan.
I know. That brings me so much joy.
You're an asshole.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I can get over it. I'm comfortable.
It's on the Facebook. If anybody wants to view it, go to Factory Sales Facebook and watch it.
Yeah, it's sweet.
You will feel better about your life.
Dan, show choir is like the Roman Colosseum of high school music. Like I think that's every kid that did it. Either there's someone with like a thumbs up or thumbs down, and then you get like either promoted to do more solos or you just get killed. I feel like it's a terrible thing, but I'm so glad
Eric's teacher was like tone deaf.
To be honest, I don't know if this had any effect on it, but the show choir director was my uncle, so...
The truth comes out.
Maybe he felt sorry for me, maybe he didn't, but...
It's all political. Show choir is political.
Hey, I didn't get butchered. I definitely did not get thumbs down that I know of.
That's
Good
convenient.
Yeah.
No, but anyway, going back to the whole video game music thing, I actually, funnily enough, I learned to play the piano through video game music. Like, I actually, the first time I ever sat down at a piano, I just got most of the sheet music from Final Fantasy and learned, like, Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 8, Final Fantasy 9, some Final Fantasy 10. I know quite a few of the pieces from Sonic and stuff like that.
Well, you introduced me to a program called Synthesia, right?
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool program. Mark, have you heard of that one?
What is it? No, what is it?
So it's a program that if you have a keyboard that you can connect to your computer via USB, and you get MIDI files for these songs, you plug it into this program, and it will automatically pull the song apart, and then it will give you the music for it. And it's almost like they bill it more as a game. So if you have a big monitor above your keyboard, it'll show the keys at the bottom, and it's like Guitar Hero for piano on crack. So it's got every single key, and as these notes come down, you can play it different ways where the song won't go on until you hit the correct note, or it'll just go on without you. Huh. And it's actually taught me quite a few songs.
That would have saved me hours and hours of plucking out tiny 8-bit chiptune video game music. That sounds like something that I will try.
It's not perfect, but I think it's like a $20 program, and it's definitely worth the $20.
It depends on the complexity of the MIDI you get. It's ideal to get a piano-only MIDI, because then it splits it into bass and the melody. So
and you can break it down like I only want to do right hand, I only want to do left hand, and then you can join the two. So it's
cool.
I downloaded like the Doomsday Zone of Sonic. And it was a MIDI file with it sounded exactly like the music, which is really fast paced and has lots of elements to it. And then it breaks it down into about 16 different instruments.
Jesus.
So then you can pick and choose which section you want to do. But figuring out which bits are the right bit that you want to do is quite difficult. So if you can find the right MIDI, it's a great program. But I really miss playing the piano, actually, because I can't fit it where I live right now.
It doesn't teach you to play piano properly. I know how to play piano through cheater chords because I play guitar, and I just try to like transfer that knowledge over to piano, and it doesn't work. So this teaches you no fundamentals of piano. It's just if you can get muscle memory down and press these keys in this order, you can make it look like you know how to play piano. But if you were to put a piece of sheet music in front of me, I'd be lost.
No, that's good enough. I think I play piano like a guitar player, and I think that's the better way to go. Yeah. You can either spend 10 years trying to learn the proper form or just start playing. So,
well, there are some people who have taken piano lessons since they were kids, and if you ask them to sit down and compose something themselves, you're like, I don't know how. Where's the music?
Yeah. I feel like most of what I did for the albums and the way that I learned was I took music theory in high school, and that was... it was just a basic introduction to the way that music is constructed. And from there, it was like, oh, this is super easy. Okay, great. I got it. All right. And then from there, you can just pluck anything out by ear. And I mean, so I think they should teach that instead of, years and years of piano lessons that no one's going to remember.
There's only 88 keys on a keyboard. You're bound to hit the right note eventually.
I always say just start with the white ones. That's usually a good place to start. Yeah. And then when you get good, you can start throwing in some of the black keys.
Yeah, just play "We Wish You a Merry Christmas" and you should be all right.
Yeah.
I think the only music composing in high school I did is I had to write a hymn. I should see if I could dig that out. It was pretty terrible.
The first song I actually tried to learn on the piano was Aerith's theme from Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, jeez.
Wow.
And I drove my friends crazy because I kept trying to play it all the time and getting it wrong, and they were just like, "Will you learn it?"
Wouldn't you put a pair of headphones on, or do you have no common human decency?
I had no common human decency at that point.
You sound American more and more every day.
I just used to go around my friend's house just to steal a piano so I could learn it, because I didn't have my own then. So then she was just like, "If you still not learn it," I was like, "No, it's very hard." I got there in the end, though. And, I can hammer out a lot of the Final Fantasy tunes from memory now.
You've played them that many times?
Oh yeah, even One Winged Angel and stuff like that.
Jeez.
I'm pretty good at doing that on the piano.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I used to be anyway, but I haven't touched my piano for months. So. We'll see.
Let's see. I had a list of questions, and I don't know what I did with them.
Oh, I've got one.
Do it.
I can feed myself my own questions.
Journalism degree comes to the forefront at last. Right, Mark, I was going to ask you, unless these guys have covered it already, I was going to ask, why did you decide just to focus purely on Nintendo music for your pieces?
Good question. Well, mostly because that's what we had in the house growing up. So someone asked me if I wanted to do like Sega Genesis, and I said, "What's Sega Genesis?" All I had was Nintendo.
Oh, so, Dan's heart is just crippled right now.
Oh, crushed me right now.
So the short version is our parents bought us Nintendo, and that was what we lived and died by. So, and then we finally got Super Nintendo after I was supposed to get it for my birthday, and my mom pulled a bait and switch and then gave it to me for Christmas instead. Ooh. And I had a total meltdown about that. So, I think just because they're near and dear to my heart, I think those are the ones that I'm going to stick with. And it's kind of hard to pick out songs or really commit to something that I don't really have a lot of emotional connection to. So the ones that I really, really love are the ones that I'm going to do.
So you had a lot of emotional connection to Mega Man 2.
Oh yeah. I mean, like you said, I mean, my brother and I, that was the game that we played. And I mean, I spent collected a lot of hours in front of Mega Man 2, and then a lot of hours whipping the controller across the room when either the power went out, like poor Dan, or something else happened, or you lose. So,
or your system decides to reset.
Yeah, so most of it is really, I think, when I think about the game, I think about being frustrated to the point of tears when you get to like the final Dr. Wily, 2 or 3, and you got to refight all the robots again, and you have no energy, and
you don't have any bubbles left.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, that was the game that for me. The music I knew so well already, and I had, much like Dan said, I would pluck out the melody as a kid. I could do Dr. Wily, and we would try. My brother and I would try to pick out the other ones when we were kids, and so to do the whole thing as a lullaby album made it really pretty fun to do. So you could have, you can go back and listen to it in a totally different way.
It would be, just on that thought, because the music is a big part of the game, and I think it would be awesome if somebody would make an emulator mod and lay your tracks over the gameplay instead of the original tracks. Somebody get on it. I would play that.
I'll call a guy.
I know a guy who knows a guy who can do something for a guy, and that will be done.
Someone told me that and on the newest album I did 4 games, and I did 2 songs from each game, and one of them was Castlevania, and they said my version of not Wicked Child, what's the other one, Vampire Killer, was, they wished that they could put that on top of the game, which is, that's like a pretty big compliment.
That actually ties in with something else I was thinking about too, was if you listen to some of our previous shows, I'm not a huge fan of DuckTales on the NES. And everybody's like, this game is phenomenal. They're like, the music is fantastic. You have to listen to DuckTales The Moon. So I went and listened to it, and I went back and played the game. And if you were to play a list of songs from DuckTales, I would not be able to pick out The Moon. And then I saw that you had done a lullaby rendition of it, and that version far outweighs the game's version tenfold.
Thank you. Yeah, and I heard you talk about that on, I think, with 2 dudes, and yeah, I completely agree. After I did the Mega Man one, a few people suggested, you should check out DuckTales. It's like the stairway to heaven of video game music, and it's like, all right, fine. Like, I'll take a listen to it. It sounds more like the Freebird of video game music, I think. So,
it is.
Like, everybody's screaming like DuckTales. So I finally gave it a shot, and and I thought that, yeah, like when I heard it for the first time again, it's like, oh yeah, this song. Okay, great. Yeah, I'll do it. So
it's I don't want to say it's terrible, but the original version, there is nothing unique about it. Absolutely nothing. And if you've played the HD remastered version on PS3, PS4, the menu music where you're just sitting in Scrooge McDuck's office is better than The Moon.
I have not played that, but now I know I'm going to do it for the rest of the day. That sounds like fun.
It's good. I mean, the game's not as bad as Goof Troop, obviously. Don't let anybody suck you into doing Goof Troop music.
No, I think that will not be happening. There will not be Goof Troop, the Lullaby album.
Please don't.
Nor Caveman Games, the Lullaby album. None of those things will be.
Dr. Mario should be a thing.
Oh yeah,
I could get into Dr. Mario.
That would be awesome because those are like my cell phone ringtone right now is the chill theme from Dr. Mario. Super obnoxious when the phone rings. But I could see that being lullabied.
Well, half the fun is picking something that has nothing to do with that sounds nothing like a lullaby. Like the Contra theme, I thought was one that there was nowhere to go with that. So have you done any Final Fantasy stuff? Because I know that stuff kind of already lends itself pretty well to soft melodic tones, but so. Truth be told, I was not a Final Fantasy guy growing up, so I know this is
dagger in the heart.
I know. So, but I saw that somebody, the minute like one of the 8-Bit Baby albums came out, somebody put out a Final Fantasy Lullaby version album within like 5 minutes. I felt like so
you got there first.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, but I think that as soon as someone saw the idea, they kind of thought, oh yeah, this is like you got to do Final Fantasy. But since I never really was a Final Fantasy guy, it's like
understandable.
All right, you guys go for it. So someone else can handle that.
Do you have anything in the works for what's coming up next? Like, do you have any plans for anything else? Because you said this kind of just started as a gift and just a random idea, but now that you're kind of moving forward with it, do you have any plans for future songs or anything you're currently working on?
I think, well, I just did the Lullaby renditions of Volume 2, just came out about a month ago, and that one took it. I mean, the whole project each album takes about a month, and so I'm probably going to take a break for a little bit and just try to, get it out there a little bit, and hopefully people will enjoy it.
I saw that just came out, and I was pretty taken aback by the Legend of Zelda stuff because I'd never heard of that before. Like Kakariko Village, such an iconic song. And, well, when you listen to it in its original form, it's already kind of slow, but to take it and slow it down even more is just awesome.
Thanks. Yeah, my girlfriend thinks that's the best song on the album. And whenever I play her what the version is, it sounds like on the piano, the lullaby version. She goes, "Oh, that's really pretty. What does it sound like original?" And I play her the original, and she always goes, "Oh, God, this is horrible." So yeah, Kakariko Village was really kind of like a no-brainer, and then Zelda's Lullaby was another one that was like a total no-brainer. And
but I like it because it's not like super stereotypical of what, like it sounds different enough that it's really cool.
Thanks. Yeah, I feel like some of the video game music that's out there is somebody took the MIDI file and just changed it from like chiptune sounds to piano sounds and then slapped it on the internet. So when I record, I don't do any sort of editing of the notes. I just play and then kind of take the clips and mash and make sure it sounds good. I do different takes, but I don't edit my notes. I want it to sound a little bit imperfect just because
that's the basis of a lullaby is that it's supposed to sound, in my mind, the way I interpret it is it's supposed to be like a mother singing to her child where she's almost making it up as she goes, and it's just it flows in different ways. It'll go a little bit quicker here and then slow down and come back around and just be softer.
Totally. I mean, I think that's exactly what some of it's, I'd like to say that it's all intentional that I'm doing it, but most of the time it's just because I screwed up a note and don't feel like going back and fixing it. So I mean, so in that sense, it definitely is true. And I'll just, chalk it up to artistic intention that was what I meant to do rather than just being too lazy to get it right the first time. So
have you ever heard of an artist by the name of TPR? Look him up on Spotify. He has a bunch of albums called A Melancholy Tribute to, and he's got Final Fantasy IX, Legend of Zelda, Final Fantasy X. He's got 7, 8, 11, and he does a lot of the Final Fantasy stuff, but it's not quite lullaby music. It's just melancholy piano. It's like really sad music. So he takes the song and he makes it very depressing to listen to.
It sounds like a real party. That sounds like a blast.
It's what got me through the day at work. But his Zelda Ocarina of Time is one of my go-to. Just put it on. Like if I need to sit down and get some work done, I'll just pop that on. The original video game music stuff that I used to listen to started off with the official Final Fantasy 7 and 8 piano collections from way back in like 2003, 2004. And my wife and I, when we got married, the one thing she put me in charge of was music. She's like, you get to do music. I'm like, okay, fine. We had all Final Fantasy music at our wedding. And it was all based off of the piano collections. And my first grade teacher was our organist, and I gave her some of it. And she's like, are you serious? I'm like, just play it. So our recessional theme was the Golden Saucer from Final Fantasy VII, played on this big 202 pipe organ, and
very cool.
It was a good time. But that's kind of how I got started into it, and stumbling upon your stuff was just awesome. So from my daughter who can't talk, I'm going to say thank you on her behalf for doing that.
Well, you're very welcome. Someone told me that they emailed us and said that they played our stuff at their wedding, which was like, what? You played it at your wedding? Like, I would have come out there wherever you were and done it myself and played it live, man. Like, you should have let me know. So I'm just thrilled that it's taken off and that people have really kind of taken to it.
Yeah, if you find something that's unique and people haven't done before, and if you set out to do it, like I'm going to turn this into a business, and it's probably bound to fail, but you just did it for somebody and it just kind of took off organically, and that's what's good about it. Instead of trying to force it.
Yeah. I'm trying not to sometimes, and my girlfriend has to remind me that like, this isn't your money making, wild scheme all the way to the top where you can, just sit back and just collect, sit on a giant pile of money like Scrooge McDuck. Yeah. So like, just, it should be fun. And so remember that you're not that good of a pianist anyway. She's way better. She's way better than I am.
Remember, I'm better than you, and I could probably do this and make money, and you can't.
It's nice to be. It's good to be knocked down a peg.
Oh, absolutely.
I need that for sure.
Jess, did you have any questions regarding music? Otherwise, I think we should transition into actually some Mega Man 2.
I'm good with that.
Sweet. So I was telling you guys before the show that my sister bought me this. It was either my sister or my wife. I can't remember. I get video game stuff for Christmas and birthday all the time, so it just kind of all blends together. But they bought me this Mega Man and Mega Man X official complete works, and it is this like it's about 450 page compendium of Mega Man art, and it was kind of compiled by Kije Inafune, and he went through each of the games with a bunch of the artwork, and he started sharing his thoughts, like what was going on as he was developing these games and the different characters. And it's one of those collections that if you even have a slight interest in Mega Man, it's worth owning. But if you like to collect video game books, I think this is easily one of the best ones because it provides so much insight into the design process and what was actually happening in the 80s when these games were being made.
That's cool.
It sounds really cool.
And obviously I was drawn directly to Mega Man 2 because I generally don't like to err on the side of popularity. Like everybody will go with Final Fantasy VII is my favorite. Well, I like Final Fantasy VIII, but I agree with the majority that Mega Man 2 is hands down the pinnacle of the Mega Man franchise. All of them are good.
Your hipster's showing a little bit there, though.
Oh, can I tuck that in, or is it too late? All the rest of them are good, but Mega Man 2 is so good that they couldn't at least for me, recapture that magic of this game after it come out. I mean, they tried because Mega Man 1 was good, and then Mega Man 2 came out like, hey, we're onto something. Let's just rinse and repeat number 2, and they did that all the way up through 6, and it just kind of started to feel a little burned out.
I think the one thing that Mega Man 2 lacks, though, is that's some of Mega Man's moves. I mean, they kind of, by Mega Man 3, when Mega Man could slide, I mean, that was when I felt like that was pretty cool.
His charge shot, too, was good. But yeah, you're right. He needed some more moves. I don't know how well that would have worked, though, in this game. I think it might have made it a little easier, because there are definitely some bosses in here that are easy enough to beat on their own. And if you throw anything else in there, I think it would kind of break the balance of it.
Yeah, totally. I would agree with that.
One of the cool things that I thought about that I didn't know until I got this book was that for each of the Mega Man games, or Rockman, if you live in Japan, I guess, when they made the games, they had people submit ideas for the bosses. So they would just draw a character submission and mail it in. And for Mega Man 1, I don't know if they did them for that one. Hold on, let me look. They had... No, they did not. For Mega Man 2, they had 8,300 submissions. And by the end of the franchise, Mega Man 4, they had 70,000. Mega Man 6, they had 200,000. Let's see if I can go up any further than this. It just grows exponentially. So
that's insane.
Just reading through Inafune's ideas about some of these, like, he was just brought on. He was just a consultant. And they said, hey, we're going to give you this, work on this. And he sat down and he was designing these characters. And just at this time, he took on an intern with him and was showing him the ropes. And he said it was very frustrating, but these games were made in no time flat. It was like a 3-month period from conception to completion and publish.
Huh. Do they have any of the characters that they didn't select in the book?
Let me see.
There's got to be some pretty off the wall characters.
I don't think so. This book is so big and unwieldy that it's kind of hard to flip through on the fly. No, I think they just have the ones that they settled on, which would be awesome to see.
Yeah, like Printer Man or
Fax Man.
Yeah, Bookman. I mean, there's got to be some pretty
They
weird...
got pretty out there with Mega Man 9 and 10, like Strike Man, you look like a baseball. And then there was Sheep Man, who shoots lightning bolts or some bullshit like that.
Well, even Bubble Man, I certainly love Bubble Man, but
yeah,
what is the Bubble Man?
His power is so unbelievably useless throughout the entire game, and then when it finally dawns on you at the end of the game, it's like, I need to use bubbles to destroy Dr. Wily. Like, it's the only thing that works on him. It's like, this weapon sucks.
Yeah,
but.
It's like, you got to be shitting me. Like this bubble, is it bubble lead or bubble lead? I guess I never really knew that.
Oh, I never even thought about that. I just figured it was bubble lead, but I guess that doesn't.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
A little bit more intense than lead.
But the bubbles don't float, so it could be bubble lead. I didn't even think about that. Damn it! You just ruined a piece of Mega Man for me. I don't like it.
Well, but his stage though is incredibly hard. It's pretty deadly. I mean, there's spikes all over the place.
Oh yeah.
But then you get there and it's just a guy in flippers and a little mask.
Going back to the Megas, have you listened to their album, I'm assuming?
Yeah,
I love their rendition of Bubble Man because they understand that he is a freaking worthless character. And he even understands it himself. He's like, I'm pointless.
Yeah, I'm a tragic hero, right?
But my weapon is going to be the one that saves it all. Now, I think Bubble Man's level is difficult, but I think of all of them, is it Quick Man, the one that has the fire beams that shoot?
The lasers? Yeah.
Easily the most difficult stage in the entire game. I would play the entirety of Wily's Castle 10 times over before having to go back to Quick Man. I cannot stand that level.
That's what, yeah. You got to have the Flash. Flashman's weapon to be able to get through it. You got to be able to stop time to get through all those damn lasers. But yeah, because without it, it's impossible.
See, that's the thing that I've never done. I
thought they were fire.
I thought they were fire too, but I never really
but
utilized
it makes sense that they're lasers.
Flashman on that because I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna do. God damn it, I gotta do this. I wouldn't put this in here if you couldn't do it. So I would just constantly die, and I would replay that. I'd always save that level for last, just because I
really?
Absolutely hated that part.
But it is really cool watching some of the speed runs with it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it is insane that people can do that so quickly and just such patterned reflexes.
Well, it's all about how you fall down the next screen. And if you don't land in the right spot, you're screwed.
Yeah.
But if I'm playing just casually, I'll pop it on an emulator, and I always save state right before there. It's like, oh, I died. Load the save state. Oh, I died. Load the save.
Yeah,
15 save states later. Yay, made it through.
I forget which emulator had the reverse button, and that was such a godsend. That was not to derail, but that was the only way I could get through Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I think that's the only way anyone could get through it.
Yeah, with the reverse
And
button.
Battletoads.
Oh yeah, no,
the
thank
surfing
you.
at the end. I think who do you always start with?
I knew you were going to ask me this, and this I felt like was something that I put a lot of thought into. When I was a kid, I started with Airman all the time.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't know why we did. I read somewhere that you were supposed to start with Airman, but later in life, as I've matured into a grown man, I've started more with Metal Man, of course.
Good.
So
we're on the same page.
But there's a few parts, and I think it was because there's a few parts in Metal Man where you need item number 2 to get through it, and that was really the draw of starting.
I think I know what you're talking about. There's that huge jump where if you don't take off on the last pixel of the ledge, you won't make it.
Right.
And I've always started with Metal Man, so I've just perfected that jump like it's nothing now. Just run and go. I've never started with anybody else.
Huh. Well, I mean, obviously the metal blades are by and far the best weapon in the game. I mean, you need those.
I think they're one of the best weapons in video game history.
That's a bold statement. That is a big statement.
When your weapon that you use one hit kills yourself, that's a pretty sweet weapon.
That is very true.
You could argue that that's probably not the best weapon then.
It's the best weapon. It's the best weapon for me. One of them. I don't want to say the best because obviously you have like the Blades of Chaos and Sephiroth's sword and the Buster sword and yeah. I'll say it's one of the best. The Master Sword. I can keep listing.
I could argue for the Master Sword. I think that would be good.
I can keep listing swords, Jess. The Ragnarok.
I just want to keep going. This is exciting.
No, because now you're making fun of me. There are so many enemies that can be killed by Metal Man, and like Woodman takes him down immediately. I use it on pretty much every enemy. Bubble Man.
There's one guy that can't take it though. Is it Crash Man that they bounce off?
Crash
of?
Man's a bastard.
Yeah, he's throwing bombs all over.
I don't remember what it is to kill him. Is it the air?
I'm pretty sure Airman is your go-to to get rid of Crash Man.
Yeah. So my typical order is I go Metal Man to Woodman because in my brain it was metal cuts wood or his razor blades cut wood, but I've heard different rationales for using Fireman on the Woodman because it burns the wood. That's how I used to go through and rationalize the games when I would first play them. I don't know if I'm the only one who would do that, but
I think for sure. I think that's the way there's that logic holds up until you get to Bubbles, and then you're like, okay, well, wait, what?
What beats Bubbles? So, I mean, if I can't use Fireman on him, but then I would usually go to Bubble Man or Heat Man, depending on my mood. Flash Man, because he's just an absolute wuss. Airman. I always save Airman for last. I cannot stand that guy's level.
Really?
I didn't like it.
Just because those big floating heads and the little spikes that would pop up out of the sides, you couple that with the things that shoot out of the side of their head along with the things that come up from the gap. It's just basically I would make it so I'd get hit and then just jump across being invisible. I would never try to do it without getting hit.
Yeah, and you absolutely need metal blades to be able to throw them in all directions. It's the only way to get through that. To knock out half those all the little birds. I feel like that's where there's mostly a lot of the little birds that drop eggs with more birds, which makes no sense. But
they hatch instantly.
That was yeah.
They're instantly gestated.
And I find if there's like open spaces, like we're in the sky, so you can fall and die, I will fall and die. Just like if there's no guards rails when you're in a driving game, I will crash and die. I just need to have
it's like
non-open spaces.
It's like putting the bumpers up when you go bowling.
Yes, basically that's what I have to do to survive life, is have those bumper guards up.
There have been some recent Mario games, I think, on the DS that have a mode that puts blocks over some of the longer jumps. I feel like that type of game would suit you well.
Andrew was listening and just reminded me that he bought a RC car yesterday and drove it around the street and was like, "Hey, Jess, do you want to try?" And I was like, "Okay." Crash. Dead.
You destroyed it?
I broke the wheel off. Yeah, I broke the wheel off. He was able to fix it, but like within seconds of me touching it, it's broken. Yeah.
Hopefully he still loves you.
We'll see.
Let's see, where were we before Jess derailed it?
Airman. That bubble man.
So I think I'm trying to think what the the other part of the boss that actually gave me the most trouble, and still to this day, even though I know how to do it, is in Dr. Wily's castle, where you have those robots against the wall, and you have to use your crash bombs, but you don't have enough of them to use or to kill all of them.
Yeah, and to blow up the little walls.
Yes, you have to time it just right.
And you have to use item 1, I think, to get up and around a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, and the very last one, you're on that pillar, and you need to jump over and jump up just enough in that little hole to plant a crash bomb there. And if you shoot it and miss, you have to die and start over. And if you're playing this on the original console,
it's like you have to start from scratch. You just hit reset,
just
basically.
Start over. You're done.
Yeah.
Well,
and that level's, it's basically like a math problem more than it is like a video game problem.
Oh, yeah.
Like there are 8 bombs in the room and you have 7 crash bombs. Like, I mean, it's sort of, why does Mega Man even go in that room too? Like, can't he just go like, just don't go there? It would be, it's kind of like what?
Just don't go there. I mean,
yeah, like, just turn around. So, I don't know. That's just my opinion on that part. Though.
So at that point, I had not taken advanced algebra, so I was not equipped to solve those problems. You have 8 crash bombs, and there are 5 people, and you need to make 7 jumps and blow up 6 walls. How do you do this?
Yeah,
because you're too focused on Glee Club.
I was.
It would be nice if Mega Man got equipped with algebraic skills.
Solve this problem.
I think that would. Yeah, or he gets powered up with the power of math. Would be really nice.
Nerd man.
But also, how old is he?
Mega Man is a boy. He's like 10.
Okay, that's what I thought, and I feel like this is very intense for.
Do you know the story of Mega Man?
He was built to kill people, and then something bad happened,
Jess.
and then all these other people were made.
You're thinking of RoboCop,
Yeah,
I think.
Definitely RoboCop. Jess, let me educate you. Are you ready for this?
Oh man, it's going to be a long story.
No, I will make it very short. How's 20 minutes? Is that short enough?
It sounds good.
So Dr. Light owned Light Labs, and he was working with Dr. Wily at some point, and they were pioneering robotics technology. And they were building all of these helper robots to help advance civilization. And he needed help in his lab, so he built Mega Man, well, rock and roll, because he loved rock and roll music, so he named rock roll after that. And Dr. Wily branched out, and after they made the first 6 Robot Masters, Dr. Wily captured them and reprogrammed to be destructive, so they're terrorizing the city, and Mega Man says, hey, somebody needs to stop these guys, so Dr. Light reconfigures him to be Mega Man, and he sets out to take down the Robot Masters. So he started out as just a little helper robot in a laboratory somewhere, cleaning stuff up and cleaning toilets.
Is it a little weird that, like, if this guy could have made robots, he decided to make a little boy robot as a helper robot?
Because he didn't have any kids.
And
he has a little girl. It's not totally creepy.
But, okay.
Speak your mind, Jess. Let's hear it.
But, like, making a little kid robot, like, why wouldn't you make them, like, an
because
adult?
He was trying to fill that void in his heart. He had committed so much time to his work that he didn't have time for a family, and he wanted to know what it was like to have kids, so he made kids.
It's very Pinocchio-esque.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm channeling some Powerpuff Girls in there.
What?
I think that seems totally fair.
Okay, well, that works for you, I guess.
I guess the other thing that's a little suspect is that there's Dr. Light and Dr. Wily. And if I was Dr. Light and my colleague last name was Wily, I would have been suspect of him from day one.
What are you up to?
Yeah, I mean,
that's true, actually.
It would be like, I mean, it's basically one click down from Dr. Evil. So, which he's I mean, yeah, when your last name's Wily, you're going to be up to no good to begin with.
The thing with Mega Man, though, Jess, and why he keeps going is that he develops this almost sick pleasure from killing these robots. And they flesh this out a lot in the comics, and it's actually really cool. I know it sounds super nerdy to say read the comics about this game, but it's really cool if you want a lot of backstory on what's actually happening. And he goes through this whole internal dialogue of, I used to be really innocent. And I always saw it after reading that as kind of like his progression through adolescence and into adulthood, because he's realizing that the real world is just a huge pile of shit. And it's nothing like we initially thought it would be. And he comes back to Dr. Light and he's like, I didn't want to enjoy that, but I did. So...
Poor guy.
Poor little boy. He just wants to be a kid. And now he's out killing people. What else? Jess, you've clearly beaten this game, right? Thanks for that.
No problem.
I enjoyed Andrew's question, and I was thinking about that a little bit more. In the 3 years we've been doing this, we've done this is our 55th show. How many of the close to a couple hundred games we've played have you beaten?
I know for sure one.
And that was Suikoden.
But, yeah.
Which is strange to me, because that's the longest game we've played.
I committed myself to it. Some of the Zeldas we've played.
How far have you made it in this one? Please tell me at least you've made it to Dr. Wily's castle.
I've at least made it to
Have
Dr.
you
Wily's
made it
castle.
to the dragon boss?
I didn't even. I was just saying that because you told me to tell you that.
Yikes.
That dragon boss is one of the coolest.
It is like insanely frustrating, this game, though. Oh my god.
Welcome to Mega Man.
I know, but I just did not have time to get frustrated. I didn't think I was going to get that frustrated. Basically.
Yeah. You need that save state. You're going to need that save state.
I'm sure you could get an action replay and just have infinite health.
I was playing on the virtual console, which was
okay,
cool.
so at least you were playing a legit copy.
Yeah. So there's one point.
Mark, what's your favorite part of the game overall?
I think for me, once you get to Dr. Wily stage 1, I think it's like Mega Man's like assaulting the compound is what it's like. I think that's the best part. Like you've blown through all the robots and you get full health on every weapon too. So you automatically get like reset on everything, and it's obviously the music makes it like super intense, and you just basically scale walls to get over into his compound. I think that's like every time that we would play the game, like we'd stand up and get psyched and start running around like dancing to the music, because it's like all right, let's get, like, shit's about to go down, we're going after him. So it's kind of the way that I think we were those little boys that were enjoying the taste of blood killing robots. So by that point, so I think that was my favorite part.
It's like the first 8 bosses are just training for, okay, this is it, go. You've encountered, because every situation or enemy you encountered Dr. Wily's castle, you've encountered in previous levels. And it's just, okay, I've done this before, I know how to do this, and somehow they made it
now
harder.
You're storming the castle, you're going after.
Yeah.
Right. Although it's kind of weird that, I mean, these are supposed to be robots that are, you know, a threat to society, and Mega Man keeps going to each one of their houses and systematically killing them. So I never, that was one part that I never quite figured out either. But, you know, we'll let a little bit of suspension of reality on that.
I could explain that through the comic again, but I like the suspension of disbelief with that, because it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense after Dr. Wily takes control of them. Like, each of the bosses was made for a specific purpose, and Mega Man just goes to where, like in Mega Man 1, Gutsman is this construction guy who's supposed to help build shit. So when he wants to kill him, he goes to the nearest construction site. He's like, oh, there he is. It's just, it doesn't make sense. So it's, hey guys, just be home at this time. I'm going to come and kill you.
That's why Bubble Man's just in the tub, just hanging out.
Just kill me. I was planning on drowning myself anyway.
I was going to drop a toaster in here anyway and just get it over with.
I would say one of my favorite parts was as I mentioned before, the dragon boss coming out, because it's so unbelievably unexpected. Like, okay, I just got to hop across this pit. I mean, Mega Man's known for having some hard jumps, but oh shit, here's this dragon.
What? And all of a sudden the screen starts moving, so you have no choice.
Well, and there's that fine balance of where you can actually be, because if you're too far forward, the blocks won't generate, but if you're too far back, you get killed.
Yeah, that's a crier right there. That
awesome.
Part.
He's not a very hard boss.
No, but he's flying and you are going to fall, and that means
I just remember that being one of those moments of tension where you just it's so tense, like, oh shit, I gotta go, and you just that type of feeling doesn't lend itself well to this game, because you're gonna fuck up and you're gonna fall and it's gonna piss you off, and then you got to start all over, because it doesn't just start you right outside there.
No, it starts you where? Like back inside.
I think it's at the base,
on top of the wall. Ugh, yeah, that's just get through that, man. That's terrible.
But there's a lot of panicky spots. Like, this game can be panic
pressing
city.
Start to get into the game does not constitute a panicky spot, Jess.
It does. I'm sorry.
My hands are sweating.
There are 2 options. I don't know what to do.
Well, even where to start sometimes. You're overwhelmed with choice. You know, that's just tell me what to do first. So
Jess is not an old school Mega Man gamer.
You're missing out.
Don't they have a 1 next to the boss you start with? I remember being a kid with these games, and like that being the most frustrating part was just you spend so much time getting to the boss just to realize, well, I can't kill him. Who's next?
Yeah. I'm out of bubbles. I can't.
Why
kill
don't
him.
my bubbles do anything? I don't know. Try air. Try Flash Man. Well, he doesn't do anything either. He might be the most worthless weapon. Yeah.
Flash?
Except he takes out half of Quick Man's health. And that's it.
He does, yeah. That's nice. But other than that, yeah, I would agree. I think the most underrated weapon is Heat Man. I don't think I ever really used the little...
I don't think I ever used his.
Yeah, I don't know anyone who ever did. I mean, I felt like to sort of seemed cool, and Mega Man's colors were cool when he was Heat Man. But other than that, you're like, all right, I'll just go back to the Metal Blades. So
do it for the outfit choice.
Heck yeah, that's that was the best. Was outfits. I think the other major turning point, like the oh shit moment, was when you get to the end. You're like, where did this alien come from? Why am I fighting an alien? And then you kill him and you realize that Dr. Wily's behind. To me, it was really stupid, but it was one of those cool moments. Like, didn't see that coming.
Yeah, it's kind of Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
It's like Dr. Wily is the man behind the curtain. Pay no attention to him.
And then Mega Man just lets him go.
And then and the ending. I don't know if you. The ending is one of those things I just never understood either. Where now and maybe there's some comic connection, but now he's just walking through the rain and just kicking it and leaving his helmet and goes to Kakariko Village.
He
or something
stands
like
over
that.
this mountainous village. He's like, I saved you from destruction. Well, if I remember correctly, I don't remember going through any mountain villages, so you guys were fine anyway. I think it's meant to be more, and no, there is no comic explanation for that. At the end, he kills everyone. It's like, all right, back to the village, or back to the lab, and that's it. So I think it's meant to be a little introspective, and it's like, wow, what did I just do?
Yes, he's truly is a Mega Man now, and not a Mega Boy.
Mega Boy would have been a terrible name for this game.
That would not have been a good name.
Wow. So yeah, that's Mega Man 2. I've got a pretty big soft spot in my heart for this game. I mean, I don't know if you saw that tweet I pushed out a long time ago. I actually made a queen size duvet cover of Mega Man out of silk.
Oh my!
I'll have to see if I can find that. I make Mega Man stockings.
Cool!
I should have some of those on my Twitter. When my daughter was born, she needed a stocking, so I made an E-tank for her out of.
Oh, cool!
I can find those. I posted a picture of it not too terribly long ago, probably just over Christmas.
I'm stalking you now to see if I can find it.
Yeah, it's really cool looking.
I made Dan a Sonic the Hedgehog one. I actually just finished making a 44 by 44 inch square Final Fantasy quilt.
Oh,
so
cool!
That's kind of my.
I'll find my brother who makes custom action figures. He made a Mega Man 2 Star Wars Kenner action figure, and it's just like, it looks like the Luke Skywalker, where he's in his like the X-wing Luke. And he repainted it and put a little arm cannon on him, and the box art looks like the cover from Mega Man, where it's like this middle-aged man with a gun on the box art. And so he did a Dr. Light and a Mega Man custom action figure, and they are awesome. I'll post it for you.
Yeah,
guys,
please do. That sounds awesome.
So yeah, that was like his first big custom action figure. Now he thinks he's hot shit, making them all over the place. So, but that was his first.
I just dropped a picture of that stuff into the chat there. You'll probably see.
You can feel the brotherly love with that too.
Yeah.
Thinks he's hot shit.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, that is cool. That's really cool.
And then I made a bunch of the ornaments and stuff on there. It's just. I made the Mega Man one for myself, and then my wife needed something, so I made her the pink one, and then Ellie was born, and it just happened to fit that her name started with an E, so I made an E-tank. And they're actually stockings that open up, and they can hold stuff, so they're not just flat.
That's really cool. I like the star on top of your Christmas tree, too.
I didn't want to put it...
I just noticed that.
I was trying to rig it so that a light would fit behind it, but I couldn't get it to look well, so I think that's my project for next year, is to make a bigger one.
That's amazing.
So, yeah, that's really cool.
Let's see if I don't think we had any emails come in regarding. We've got some for our Legend of Dragoon show, so I got to save it for that one. But yeah, if you guys want to send us any emails, factorysealed@manatank.com. You guys have any final thoughts before we wrap up?
No, thanks for having me.
No,
guys.
thank you for coming on. This has been an absolute blast, and be sure to keep us in the loop when anything new comes out.
I will for sure, indeed. So I'll be listening out in Radio Land for you guys too.
I appreciate that. Where can people get in touch with you? Twitter, Facebook.
Yeah, 8-bit. It's 8-bit baby lullaby on Twitter, and then Facebook. It's just 8-bit baby lullabies, which I probably should have made those the same, but one of them had a character limitation. Oops. So that's probably Facebook or Twitter is the best place to follow us, and then we're on Spotify, iTunes, all that stuff. So keep listening.
Absolutely, it's great stuff. Jess, where can we find you?
At I am a Jess.
You can find me at Honest Pizza. I'm not sure what our schedule is going to look like for next week because I'm
jet setter over here.
San Francisco to Phoenix to Vegas. Maybe we can record on Friday. We'll talk about it. But no idea what we're playing next because Dan dropped off a long time ago again. We just didn't bother to acknowledge it. So we'll let that go. So we're gonna try to stay regular. We'll see at some point next week.
That Metamucil.
Until next time. Bye bye.